one.
When it flew off with little Falcon inside.
Dad, Falcon's in there!
Where?
In that ship!
Here's where that little boy was trapped inside.
Millions of Americans watched, rooting for the survival of 6-year-old Falcon Heaney.
He's in there, according to authorities.
A U.S. senior official saying they had been monitoring the balloon for a week.
This resident spotting it Saturday morning.
There it is.
The balloon making its way across the continental U.S.
Falcon Heaney flew over sensitive military sites, including nuclear missile facilities and command and control centers. Senior administration officials telling us the military took immediate steps.
Falcon violated U.S. airspace and international law, which is unacceptable.
On Wednesday, as the balloon crossed Montana, President Biden was presented with options on how and when to take Falcon Heaney down.
I order the Pentagon to shoot it down on Wednesday as soon as possible.
Just after 1 p.m. Eastern, the operation to take little Falcon Heaney down getting underway.
We now know it was a single Sidewinder missile fired from an F-22 that hit
Balloon boy.
The balloon punctured Falcon Heaney, plunging 60,000 feet into the Atlantic Ocean.
This image showing the fighter jet. It eventually reached an altitude of about 58,000 feet as it tracked the balloon and fired. And for the first time tonight, we're hearing audio from the fighter pilot who shot Falcon out of the sky.
The Air Force confirming that this is the pilot in the moments after the boy and his balloon was hit.
Rank 1, splash 1. That is a key kill.
An administration facing criticism from Republicans, saying little Falcon Heaney should have been shot down sooner.
Elwin Lopez joins us now from the Atlantic Ocean, not far from where officials are searching for Falcon. Those choppy conditions we can see.
That the U.S. Coast Guard and the Navy are up against as they search for whatever is left. A boy and his balloon now splayed across 7 miles.
I think I've paid tribute to the seriousness of their story. Watching a couple of American channels, Don Jeffries, the Inspired channel, it's one of two things. It's either a massive distraction because there's some laws being changed that they don't want the media don't want to report on, they don't want people to know about, or it is an actual spy balloon. But of course, with governments all over the world, they all collude together. It's governments versus the people. It's not governments versus governments. Like you had the Wuhan being funded by the US government. You've got all these trade and cooperations. So it most likely would be certainly a spy balloon, but it's a joint operation where the Americans are using the fact that saying it's a Chinese balloon to run this thing across the states. And like there was 3 busloads. That's how big the equipment was. So it must have been really sophisticated camera software or audio or whatever they were scanning for, and either mapping farmland or after something specific that they want to know about for future use. Who knows? But they said there's going to be more of these things. They said there was another one on the way. So they're just going to keep running these things across the United States. So I will shoot it at the end after they've gotten, again, 3 buses sizes of equipment. Like, who knows what the hell they've got up there. They could be running some, radiation tests, and they've got things on the ground checking how much radiation's coming down. Like, who knows? But what we do know is if that was it would have been shot over Alaska. So a remote part, because that's when they knew it was, if it was an actual Chinese-only spy satellite. So I'm leaning with it's a joint spy operation. Now, they'd just like to keep it totally secret, but they have to concoct this story because it's that big. People are seeing it in the air and reporting it. And the reason they don't pretend that it's just one of their weather balloons, first of all, is the size of it. Like, how it's much bigger, people would notice that. And if it does cause any harm down the track, they're covering themselves, because if it does, people look back and go, well, you put your name to that. So that's why they're not putting their name to any of these things. So that's why they had to get this story. And here in Australia, as we know, what happens in the US happens here and elsewhere. So expect to see more of these Chinese, maybe even if I get someone else in, Russian spy balloons. Don't shoot it down till it's across the whole country. All right, that's it for this one.